Get this. Just...
Let me get that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, I've been having a lot of trouble with my toilet lately. It won't stop running.
Really?
Don't you have a business card or something? Aren't you a Mr. Rooter guy?
No,
Remember, there are other courteous people besides Mr. Rooter plumbers.
How many people do you know who always make it a point to go out of their way for you?
Excuse me, miss, are these your keys?
We know thousands of them.
No.
And they all work here. Shelter Insurance. Auto, home, life.
Ask Agent Nancy Allison about Shelter's great car insurance rates.
Seek shelter today.
Closed captioning provided by Rockbridge Preschool and BringYourChildToWork.com, bringing parents and children together.
Well, on this site, you don't have conventional city sewer just to tap into it. There isn't just a tap fee.
Oftentimes when you're building a home out in the country, you have to come up with alternative means of a sewer system. And so Dr. Miles is out here to take a soil sample. Walk us through what the process is here.
What I'm looking for is trying to get the best read on a soil, and so I'm going to assume that the homeowner would like to have a system underground, a conventional lateral, instead of maybe something like a lagoon. And a lagoon works well, but a lot of people don't like the unsightliness and the thought of it.
And that's the case out here. We really didn't have a means of where to place a lagoon, so a lateral septic system is the choice that we came up with for this property.
Good. So what I try to do here is I have a hand probe where I can go around and probe and say, this is good, this is better, here's a spot we want to avoid, that sort of thing, and then kind of report to the homeowner and say, this is the best spot, or gosh, we've got some really tight situations here, so we may not be able to go with conventional, but we have some alternative systems. Really, we want the soil to do two things. Is when we put the effluent out there after the septic tank, it's got to be able to absorb the effluent, but also the soil has to clean it or treat it before it hits groundwater, or at some point in time it'll flow over here to the stream. So we want to be good stewards. We want to have a good clean environment while moving it also. Clay does a really great job of treating, but it doesn't move it very fast.
Right.
Sand will move it, but it doesn't treat it very well. So what we want, I always tell people, is the light beer. We want something that tastes great and less filling.
Right.
Hopefully the surface soil would look good. It's got some dark surface there, that's good in and of itself. And then I texture it. What I'm doing there is trying to estimate the amount of sand, silt, and clay, as you suggested earlier. And this is a silt loam. It doesn't ribbon up and it's not too sticky. Down the surface soil below that, it's getting a little more sticky. And so far this is pretty good. It's picking up some in clay, which it normally does. That's the way a lot of our soils are. But we're pretty good, but we need about 36 or 45 inches of good permeable stuff. We want to stay away from that, okay?
The soil scientist gave us some news that was a little disappointing.
We've got a lot of clay.
It's not good for a lateral septic system, so now we're going to have to regroup.
By the county code, you could put a lagoon in.
We have two other options.
Which is a lagoon, which is the least desirable but the most cost effective.
Or what he called an at-grade system, which is kind of in the middle.
So we're going to take a look at the middle option and then go from there and try to regroup.
We prefer to do something in the ground, but we still have to work within our budget, and that's what we're working on.
We're a little disappointed, but we'll figure it out.
The soil testing that we've done is indicating that we have to have a lagoon, and the one-man architectural committee has decided, or is having an issue with the lagoon, period. And if there is a lagoon, he's trying to decide exactly where it should be, where it's the least noticeable.
When you work on getting it least noticeable, you actually cause it to be less functional, in our opinion. So that's an issue we're trying to resolve. Anything above a lagoon or this conventional system is actually way out of their budget.
Well, the loan has not closed yet. It is closing here within the next week. Everything's finalized with the bank.
The system that we use won't hold us up from being able to break ground. We'll still be able to excavate the site. We'll still be able to work on the concrete. It's when we start getting in the rough plumbing, we'll have to start figuring those issues out, which we have probably a couple, 2-3 weeks to make sure that we get everything in line.
Brought to you in part by Carpet One Floor and Home Columbia. Best brands, best service. The one store for your perfect floor. Forum Christian Church, intentionally connecting people to Jesus. And Withrow Electric. No job too small.